Why do we have such a relatively low penetration of the market with electric cars? Are you a bad sales guy?
Clearly, I'm going to have to get another job.
Electric cars. Many talk about them, not so many have them. But one thing's for sure, they are coming.
I personally don't know that much about them yet, but I talked to Ben Warrren from Nissan, and I must say he knows his stuff, Jono. Listen and learn.
So what we have here is the Nissan Leaf.
Yes.
So there's two different battery configurations of this product. The 40 kilowatt hour we've been selling since August in 2019. So this is the E+, so this is the fresh one. It's a 62 kilowatt hour pack.
You need what, between 12 and 16 kilowatt hours or so to drive about 100k? Is that the right number or what?
Yeah, it's probably about that. It's depending on the type of driving that you're doing and how fast.
I'm 16 then,
yeah. Which way the wind's blowing. There's buffers built into the vehicle.
Right.
So as you're driving, it'll progressively give you more and more warnings to let you know that it's getting dire.
Right.
It starts to pare back some of the energy systems and things. Eventually you get to the point where it says no more, and it'll go into basically a mode that'll give you enough time to get off the road.
Right.
But you can't stop a determined idiot. So the range of the E+ is 385 kilometres, real world. Again, depending on the driving and things, that's a combined average. But yeah, 385 is pretty realistic.
Let's say if I drove my 80k's, how long does it take to charge that car again to be full again the next morning?
Depending on what sort of charger you're using, but if you're just plugged into a wall socket, say for example, your 50 to 80k's would be replenished by the time you left in the morning.
Right.
You can get bigger chargers that charge a bit faster.
I now decide to go all the way to Wollongong and drive it around and come back, and I'm now nearly empty.
Yep.
I've got a relatively fast charger. What am I going to have back left in the morning about?
So if you've got a dedicated charging station on the wall of your garage, so a 7 kilowatt wall box, E+ will be fully recharged in 11 and a half hours.
Is there a chance if I charge it during the day to use my solar to charge the vehicle?
Absolutely, and that's the ultimate goal, because you're effectively sourcing your energy for free through the power of the sun. You can also get charging stations that are a little bit more sophisticated now that are monitoring what's happening with your solar panels and will only charge the vehicle with the excess solar, say for example. So the integration of chargers back into the home ecosystem is getting stronger and stronger.
So there's a battery that's I suppose that's for the starter motor, is it? Or what's that battery for?
No starter motor. So
He has no clue, but he will.
The normal battery here is powering the accessory system, so door locks, lights, all of those things. And so the reason for that is if you were to, in that example before, drive the car completely flat, how do you put your hazard lights on? How do you unlock the doors? If you have an accident in the car, the first thing the car does is shut down the high voltage system, so there's no issues or danger to anyone. But you still need to turn hazard lights on, and you still need basic systems.
Functions, yeah.
That's what that does.
Okay.
So the electric motor is actually all the way down the bottom. That is what's connected directly to the wheels, and then above it you've got the power delivery modules and inverters and all of the power systems.
And the batteries are more towards the back of the car?
Yeah, so the battery's in the floor of the vehicle, so it starts at the front seats and works through to underneath the back seats, so you're sitting on the battery pack. So it's in the base of the vehicle, low to the ground, so centre of gravity is really nice.
And there's no noise, is it?
No noise at all. The most common thing people do when they start an electric vehicle is they press the button and then they press it again because they haven't heard any engine noise, they haven't heard any vibration. But it's an electric car, it won't do that. So hit the button, the lights come on the dash, your car is ready to go.
Okay. Why do we have such a relatively low penetration of the market with electric cars? Are you a bad sales guy?
Yeah, well, that's it. Clearly, I'm going to have to get another job. If we use some of our European cousins as a benchmark of where they're at, they're much further along the journey than we are. They've got more cars, and that's off the back of pretty strong policy direction, pretty strong targets and market benchmarks, which then set the tone for the rest of the industry. The challenge is firstly making sure we get the range of choice here. So as a market, Australia becomes somewhat difficult to justify shipping a car around the world when you can sell it in Europe and get a host of subsidies, contribute towards targets and things like that.
So this little baby, which is obviously the slightly more expensive one because it's got a longer range,
Yep.
what do I have to expect price-wise? I'm sure a lot of people, that's the first question they say, how much is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
This one is for free because I'm doing the interview, is paying me for that.
Yeah, it's floor stock. So Leaf starts, so the smaller battery one starts at basically 50k plus on road, so about 55. This one with the bigger battery is 60 or 60 and a half plus on road, so again about 65 drive away. Is about the ballpark price. From a maintenance perspective, there's obviously far fewer moving parts.
Right.
So you're not doing oils and filters and things like that. So the maintenance on electric vehicles about 40% less than that of an equivalent petrol car.
Okay.
And from a lifetime perspective, the motor itself, there's no serviceable parts in it, so it will last the life of the car. We've not had any replacements of electric motors or anything like that.
Seriously, what you say, 500,000? There must be a design life in it.
Yeah, I mean there is. It's not something that we talk about,
Right.
but you know, like everything, we have a minimum requirement that it needs to hit, but it is hundreds of thousands of kilometres. With an EV, the more kilometres you do, the faster the payback will be, because energy costs less than petrol. So the more you maximise that, servicing intervals are less, the quicker your payback will be.
The existing grid, can it cope?
There are times in the grid today where we're not using
what's
the
there.
amount available.
Yeah.
Middle of the day,
Yeah.
middle of the night.
Yeah.
You know, if everyone plugged in and tried to charge their car at 6 p.m. of a weeknight, then yes, there would be a challenge. Things like smart charging, controlled charging, where utilities can help orchestrate some of that and make sure that charging moves to capacity-free spaces. The car itself can actually feed power back and support your house, support the grid. We actually see a world where EVs should help the transition of the grid, because we want to use the energy when it's available and give it back when it's needed. There's more and more interest every day for electric cars. You know, typically with all new technologies, some of the barriers are around sort of cost and these types of things, but they're coming down as well.
It's a good looking car, it looks safe, it looks stylish, and quite frankly, if you have solar, it could possibly run for free.
What kind of vehicle can slash your petrol bills, but also potentially your power bills as well?
And do something for the environment.
It's win-win-win.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I have a huge solar system and I export a lot of that electricity, and I only get about 8 cents per kilowatt. So if I would charge the Nissan Leaf with my solar system, it'll only cost me around $250 a year.
So that's really a bargain in running costs. But what about a petrol car?
Well, you think about it, let's say if you've got 20,000 K, current petrol price, medium car, you're looking at about $3,600 in petrol. Then the maintenance, etc. on top of it, so maybe another $1,200, so $4,800 per year. That's what it'll cost you to run a petrol car.
So if you pick up a Nissan Leaf with low kilometres for $50,000, but an equivalent petrol car costs you $35,000, you actually pay $15,000 more for the Nissan. So the question is, can you actually save money with an electric car?
Well, yeah, you've got to consider that. With a Nissan, you pay the $250 for the electricity in my case, plus lower maintenance costs. So I think $1,000 per year will cover it. So you actually do have a benefit per year of $3,800.
So over 10 years, you'll be $38,000 better off? Wow.
No, Jono, you forgot the 15 grand initially that you pay more for the car. You got to take them into consideration.
Of course, how could I forget? So let me get this straight. It takes you 4 years of annual savings to get your initial hire purchase price back, after which you get the savings?
That's true, but 4 years you get your initial investment back, then you get the savings.
So over 10 years, that's still $23,000 in your pocket? Not bad, and you also get the extra benefit of not burning those fossil fuels.
Yeah, so it looks like it stacks up even right now to go for an electric car. And they can save you money, and some of them even now start to look sexy.
Want more energy answered? Visit YourEnergyAnswers.com for quality energy products, tools and calculators, and find your quality local installers. Please support the channel by liking the video, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell, and check out all our other videos. You're still here? I'll see you next time. Bye.